What's up? Welcome back. It's Pikel. This is League of Items. And we only had two matches last night. We had OMG against Sunning. Sunning won 2-1. We had Vici Gaming against Dominus. Vici Gaming won 2-0. OMG managed to win the first game, and I think that they were in position to potentially win the third game. I did not watch those matches. But we're going to take a look at some of the highlights after we discuss Bilibili Gaming against Rogue Warriors and EDG against LNG. So the rosters are already out. If you go to Twitter, I retweet everything. So it's an easy spot to find. Let's go with Bilibili Gaming against Rogue Warriors first. So in the top lane, we have Kingen against Holder. I don't think there's a big advantage for either team right there. Meteor against Haro. Players have been really high on Meteor, players as in like DraftKings players and bettors have been pretty high on Bilibili Gaming since they got Meteor back, and it's because Meteor has had some good performances, but none of those performances have been as good as Haro's performances. I'm not sure Haro is significantly better than Meteor, but I'm a Rogue Warriors fan basically at this point. Haro's pretty good, pretty good. So they're both good junglers. Maybe there isn't a gigantic advantage one way or the other, but I'd probably lean Rogue Warriors for that reason. Wooming against Fofo. I'm not convinced that either mid laner is very good, but I think Wooming is slightly better than Fofo. Then in the bot lane we have Wings and Jinmo against Zwuji and Lei. And I prefer Zwuji and Lei in that matchup. So I think it's pretty obvious which way I'm leaning. Rogue Warriors is a slight favorite at -133. I do think that Bilibili Gaming is a live dog, but they're barely a dog, according to the sportsbook. I haven't looked at the DraftKings pricing, but I would assume EDG is the most expensive, followed by Rogue Warriors, then Bilibili Gaming, and then LNG. Maybe they would make Rogue Warriors the most expensive team, EDG second, Bilibili Gaming third. But like I said, I haven't looked at it yet. EDG against LNG, that's obviously it's the matchup that is more likely to go 2-0 for EDG. So I think that players who get EDG as their primary stack, they're going to look to play them with Bilibili Gaming because the salaries should line up better. So that might cause a little bit more ownership onto Bilibili Gaming. So let's go lane by lane. Xiaoshang against Flandre. Xiaoshang has looked pretty good in a couple of their matches. They do play around him somewhat and give him good champions. Jai against Gigi. Still don't know. It's like that thing where you learn how to pronounce a word, but you know that you used to say it a different way, so you're not sure which one you're supposed to say. That's the situation that I'm in right now. Scout against Maple. I think Scout is certainly a better player than Maple. And then Hope and Mako against Light and Dwan. And I prefer Hope and Mako in that spot. So I agree with the line. I don't think there's much value one way or the other. Let me see if I put... let me just do a recap of how I fared yesterday with the betting. That's weird. Let me check Discord. I post all my picks in Discord. So yesterday we had LCS. Alright, so Sandbox Gaming. Yeah, I had JDG beating Bilibili Gaming. I had Top Esports beating Invictus Gaming, but Invictus Gaming won. Anybody who watches my videos knows that I am a pretty big Invictus Gaming supporter, so I knew they were live. Sandbox won. KT also won. So I had both of those. And then I had Santos beating Pain Gaming in an upset. PRG beating Furia, which was not an upset. Kaboom beating Vivo Kid. Kaboom, I think, is the better team overall. Vivo Kid had been pretty good recently, though. And then I had Flamengo over INTZ. Flamengo was winning this match. I'm surprised they didn't follow through with that one. And then in the LCS, I had Evil Geniuses, Cloud9, TSM, and Golden Guardians. So Evil Geniuses, that was a bad game from them. We could actually go over this as well, the Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 matches, because we probably will get some good information from that. So let's do that. LCS, YouTube. So I'm not sure if this is gonna let me hop around. Advertisements, gotta love it. Alright, so this isn't gonna let me hop around. There was a pause in this game as well. Alright, so let's just go through the draft, I guess, real quick. First, we have Volibear. Volibear is a good pick. It's an okay pick. It's a flex pick. If you pick Volibear first overall, you have to know that Evil Geniuses is going to pick Aphelios or Ashe. Once EG locks in Aphelios, then I automatically prefer their side to win the match. So, like, if this was a live betting situation, I probably would have put in a bet on Evil Geniuses if DraftKings offered a line. EG, or at least that's what I'm going to be looking to do once I get, like, a sports book that I can trust more, because some of the other books have been horrible recently. So, Aphelios and Set. Set's a good flex pick, so we have a flex pick. Then we have Thresh getting locked in. Ashe into Aphelios. I prefer the Aphelios side, like I've said in the past. Orianna's a good champion. And it doesn't really limit the choices for Evil Geniuses, but it is a pretty good blind pick in general. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Alright, so then we have Galio getting locked in. Galio versus Orianna is fine. Evil Geniuses is playing around like a mid-game team composition. The Galio plus the Camille is a good combination. Orianna plus Volibear is a pretty good combination because he can jump in. So like you can think about it as Ashe shoots an arrow out, right? Hits somebody. Volibear jumps in. Orianna puts the ball onto Volibear and ultimates. Like, that's a pretty good combination. Blitzcrank is okay against Aphelios because you're trying to rip him away from his protection, but we do have a Thresh. And then Dardoch is on Graves. So we've seen Dardoch playing things like Karthus much better on Graves. So I think that I do prefer Evil Genius's team composition because they do have the Aphelios. They have Galio for some additional help. And honestly, if you hook Aphelios into your team, then the Galio gets an ult onto him. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good like counter engage for Evil Geniuses. So let's go ahead because I believe that Evil Geniuses threw this game away. So we'll find the spot where they throw and we'll explain why that happened. Or how it happened. Not necessarily why. Alright, so they still have a lead. We're just trying to find the big team fight. Still winning. Up 2K. Still winning. Up 2K. I don't think there's a huge scaling advantage for Dignitas either. Evil Geniuses has Huni on Camille, which is going to outscale Volibear, and they have the Aphelios. Let me clear the screen real quick. So it's still roughly 2K. Evil Geniuses tries to make a play in the bot lane, and this is where it must go wrong. So the dragon's up in 3 minutes. You don't really need to make a play right now. They probably feel stronger, so it's not the worst idea, but they're using a lot to get onto Viper. So that's a pretty good job by Viper there, using the Unstoppable. So how does this go wrong? Let's slow it down. Let's try to slow it down. Alright, so Graves is able to show up bot lane first. So I guess they were kind of baited into this. They realized that Camille was coming in. Galio ults afterwards, gets a 3-man taunt, which is good, but there's not a lot of AoE to follow up on that. Kuni was exhausted, so he's not doing much damage right now. Volibear gets pretty lucky to live in that situation, in my opinion. Thresh wasn't even with them, so for Evil Geniuses basically made a play they did not have to make a play without the proper amount of support, and they paid the price for it. So I'm assuming that Dignitas goes from this, runs to Baron, takes Baron. Was there another pause? So I think that somebody said on Twitter that Svenskeren was experiencing very high lag spikes throughout this game. And if that's true, then you can kind of justify it, because playing on 60 to 100 ping compared to 15 to 30 ping is a very different game. So that is pretty unfortunate. Okay, so Evil Geniuses is looking to contest this because, I mean, if Dignitas gets this Baron, they're going to be able to eliminate at least 4 towers off the map, which is very difficult. It's a huge gold lead that they'd be able to create coming from a losing position. So Dignitas is able to get the Baron. Zeyzal went in and died. Huni dies as well. Bang is looking to do Aphelios things, but is not able to. And again, this happened for a few reasons. So Evil Geniuses wasn't able to accrue a large enough gold lead, and then went for a pretty risky play in the bot lane in order to take Baron. So if you think about it, they were making a play on the bottom half of the map to try to get an objective on the top half of the map. And this basically means that it requires a lot of time to get up there. So, I mean, the play itself isn't the worst play in the world to make, but you don't need to make it. It's tough to be too critical of that. I don't think it was a horrible play. So, I mean, from this position, Dignitas needs to take several towers in order to create a larger gold lead. I guess that's one thing that's kind of confusing, is why wasn't Evil Geniuses able to split push for more of a gold lead? There's two outer towers left, which should be able to help. Dardoch on Graves, 7 kills. That's pretty good. They ended up being like the highest DraftKings scoring team of the day as well, which is not surprising. Actually, it is kind of surprising. But if you told me Dardoch is going to play Graves, it makes it a little bit more likely, I guess, to have a carry performance. This game looked more like a Chinese match, if I'm being honest, which is something that we should expect to see going forward, is that at the end of the season in the LCS, some of these teams who have playoff implications, or some of these teams who are in games that have playoff implications, will be more likely to, like, just go for it. We're like, oh, we're losing. If we don't make a play right now, we're going to lose. Then they go for the play. It doesn't work out. They die. All 5 of them die. And then they go back to base. There's another objective coming up. Well, we have to make this play to try to come back in the game. Otherwise, we're going to lose. They do it again. They die. And I think it's the right way to play League of Legends. So I'm not going to be critical of teams that do that. Like, I'm not going to say Evil Geniuses played horrible. They got 26. They had 26 deaths. It's more about, like, the fact that they threw away the game around a pick in the bot lane. And you can't really say they should or should not have gone for that play. I can make arguments for both sides, so it's forgivable, in my opinion. Not a horrible draft either. I'm not a huge fan of letting Graves go to blue side on the 4th pick, because I think Graves is one of the best champions in the games right now too. I don't love Set jungle. I've been pretty vocal about that. But Set is a good flex pick. So again, like, you understand why a team makes that kind of decision, but it does kind of smell like a pick that was made based off of how other teams are using Set, maybe more so than Svenskerin's comfortable level of comfort with that champion. Was Zoe banned in this game? Zoe wasn't banned. I think they should have picked Zoe. Zoe is like Golden Glue's best champion. At least on stage. I'm pretty sure his stats on Zoe are pretty good. So that's enough for that game. Like I said, they threw it away in the bot lane. Not much you can really do after that. C9 against Team Liquid. So this is C9 running a very interesting composition. They had Sona and Lux in the bot lane. So there are a few things to talk about in this matchup. So conventional wisdom says that Blitzcrank versus Sona and Lux should be very strong, because Blitzcrank has a hook, and every time you hook in one of these champions, you would think that you can get a kill. But Cloud9 is a very proactive team. I like that they went for the Sona Lux bot lane. I don't love how they built the rest of their team composition, because they don't have a ton of damage coming out from their solo lanes. So Shen, Hecarim could theoretically be a carry. He is getting a lot of support from the Shen, from the Sona, from the Lux. But you just don't have that high damage threshold for Cloud9, which is an issue that you could have avoided by playing something else in the mid lane. So this is kind of what we're talking about. So every time that Sona and Lux are too far up in the lane, they're running the risk of being killed pretty easily. But at the same time, you can kind of turn it into a math equation by saying, because of the item efficiency of Sona and Lux in the bot lane with the items that they use, and with how, like, getting 2 support items for the additional gold generation and all those kinds of things, you can kind of ask yourself, how many times can Sona and Lux die before the advantage that our items are giving us is overtaken? And I haven't done the numbers on that, but I assume it's more than 1 or 2 kills, because the gold generation from both of those players should be relatively high, and their items are out of control. So Sona gets a ton of extra value out of Lichbane because she's continuously spamming abilities. Lux is able to build Athene's Unholy Grail and Ardent Censer, which are two of the most gold efficient items in the game. Lux specifically, I think, is a champion that should be played more on the professional stage. It's just difficult to lock in that champion blind, so we see it less often, and people have a lower opinion of champions that you can't just blind pick. And the reason why it's so good is because Lux is able to get her shield onto all of her teammates. You don't have to pick one teammate to shield. Like, Karma can do the same thing. She can theoretically shield her entire team. But Lux does it even better because it's a lower cooldown, and you don't have to use your mantra for it. And Lux also does a good amount of damage with her ultimate. So I do think that Lux is a very good choice, depending on your team composition and the enemy team composition. So Cloud9 was able to build up a lead. Let's go further into the game, because there were some points in the match where it was difficult for them to play out their team composition because of the lack of reliable damage. And I think this is the spot right here. And if it's not this, it's the next fight. Alright, so from this position, Cloud9 is able to secure another dragon. Their gold lead has been diminished somewhat, so they're going to be roughly around 1.5 to 2,000 gold for the foreseeable future. They get another tower in the bot lane, which is good. Jensen was caught overextending. They also get Niski. So these are the kinds of plays that you expect Cloud9 to make. Proactive plays with the Hecarim, with the Sona, with Set, with Shen, being able to start a fight, have Lux follow up on that, engage with their ultimate, and then play slowly around the objective that they try to take afterwards. So I think there's a lot to like about this team composition. I think it was somewhat execution, but also a little bit of a draft error by not having more physical damage on the team. And hey, maybe I'm wrong about that, but having all of your physical damage be like short-ranged is a negative. The other thing to take into consideration is the fact that Blitzcrank was locked in, and I think that they did discuss this during the game, but Blitzcrank's ultimate removes shields from the enemy team. It will not remove the buffs that you get from Lux, so this is an unlucky hook. That's just unlucky. Well, not unlucky. It's bad. It's a bad idea for them to walk towards that bush because they know that they don't have vision. But the fact that Sona gets hooked after almost dodging the ability, that's kind of what I mean by unlucky. And this is the problem. So once one component of your combination is eliminated, it becomes much more difficult to execute. So Shen had Stand United, I think, this entire time. He should have been looking for a chance to go in. I'm not sure what the calls were looking like at this point. Tactical almost goes down, but ease out, which is just a good mechanical play by Tactical. Yeah, so then this turns into a Baron, and the game just flips. And this is what happens in League of Legends. The Baron buff not only gives you gold, but it gives you the ability to acquire gold at an accelerated rate, because when you buff your minions, it's easier to take towers. So right now, no towers have been taken with the Baron buff, but you're going to see at the top right part of the screen, they already got 2,000 gold from taking Baron. They take a tower, so that number is going to shoot up by 800 gold roughly. That's 2,700. They have 3 more towers that they can take pretty easily with the Baron buff. So it's going to eliminate the gold lead that C9 had, and then also create a gold lead for Team Liquid. It also creates map pressure. So Team Liquid should be able to fight the next dragon more easily and potentially take it for free because of the additional map pressure. They're going to get map pressure out of this. They're going to get vision pressure, tempo pressure, and material as well, like in terms of item scaling, because like I said, Cloud9 doesn't have that additional level to hit with physical damage. Like there's no hard carry on their team with physical damage. Another interesting thing that was brought up, maybe interesting is not the right word, but another thing to talk about would be the items. So there was a decent amount of criticism for Cloud9 for Shen and Hecarim building Ninja Tabby instead of Merc Treads, and I think that people are right criticizing them for that. Cloud9 still trying to make aggressive plays. Right there, Blitzcrank used his ultimate very well. So if you're a team that's looking to play Lux, you should probably be considering the Blitzcrank ban. And then this is where you see the damage fall off, so you don't have a lot of consistent damage from the side of Cloud9. Well, actually, you do have consistent damage, but you just don't have enough damage. Shen's not going to do enough damage in a late-game team fight to take out Ezreal. So I think set was really the issue. You could have picked some kind of AD champion, either top or mid, that would have allowed you to play this game more easily. And that's the game. So yeah, interesting game for Cloud9. Interesting team composition. I like that they did it. If anything, it's a positive. The fact that they lost is obviously concerning, but overall, I'm happy that they went for it. Next game is CLG against TSM. So first, we have the Ashe lock-in. Aphelios was banned by CLG, which I think is a bad read on the meta. So I'm going to keep that in mind because I think that they're not drafting correctly. If your first ban is going to be Aphelios, it just seems pretty stupid to me. So they go for Ashe against Ezreal. So CLG probably was predicting this trade was going to happen in the game. So they go Ashe which is a meta pick. Nobody's going to complain about first picking Ashe. I think it's a mistake. It shows like a misunderstanding of why Ashe is being played in the first place. But this happens very often. So like a team from China or Korea will start playing a champion like Ashe as a response to a champion like Aphelios, and then people don't think of it as, oh, Ashe is good against Aphelios. It becomes Ashe is a good champion and she has a good matchup against Aphelios, so let's just play Ashe more. And then once you get a couple wins on the Ashe, you start feeling good about Ashe, and then you start jamming it first pick overall, and that's when you start running into problems because the champion is not nearly as good as its pick rate would imply, and its win rate is pretty low right now across the world. So we have Ashe, we have Ezreal, so I think that Ezreal's fine against Ashe. Ashe is going to win the laning phase. Ezreal is going to have counterplay. So he's not necessarily going to outscale Ashe, but they play the game a different way. So the Ezreal has longer range and is able to poke a little bit more easily than Ashe. So that's something to keep in mind. So I prefer the Ezreal here. I'll actually just do the picks that I prefer. So I prefer Ezreal over Ashe, so I'm going to mark where the AD carry is going to be. Then we have Karma, which is a flex pick, which is a good pick. I'm not a huge fan of Karma compared to the other champions that are out there right now, but if the team is well practiced on it and thinks that it's very strong, then you kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt and let them show you that they can play it well. So I'm not going to be too critical of that. So we get a flex pick. We had Graves locked in. Graves, one of the best champions in the game right now. Much better than Jarvan, in my opinion. There are ways for Jarvan to be very strong in this meta through team composition, but they did not play into it, so I do prefer Graves in this situation. Galio against Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia has a much higher damage ceiling. So if you're looking for damage, Cassiopeia. If you're looking for mid game and kind of snowballing, the Galio is very strong. Let me see when Ornn was picked actually. Okay, so Ornn was picked 3rd. And then CLG picked Gnar. So Gnar against Ornn is not a great matchup for the laning phase, but eventually Gnar will outscale if he goes on hit Gnar, so it'll be interesting to see how they go for that. Braum, I do like Braum. So we have Ashe, Graves, Gnar, and Braum. That's a good start for a team composition that's going to try to utilize Braum's passive, which stuns players if they're auto-attacked 4 times. So I do like the drafts from both teams for different reasons, and they're playing around much different spots. So okay, it's a slow game, and when it's a slow early game, it basically means that both teams think that they have advantages in the mid game that they're going to try to play around. So this was a Rift Herald fight. CLG basically gave up the early game. That's kind of weird. So that's a mistake. Why did that happen? Let's see how TSM got this first dragon. So it looks like they just had a good read on the back timings for CLG. Why does this happen? If you're CLG, you have the advantage in the early game. You need to win this game before Cassiopeia and Ezreal outscale you. And this is kind of what I was talking about. So people who don't understand the matchup, like when they see a Gnar locked in, they're like, oh, it's Gnar against a melee champion. Gnar has the advantage. That's not how the matchup works at all. Like Gnar is a good champion. I love playing Gnar. I talk about it a decent amount. But Gnar is not just like this champion that can go into lane and dominate instantly. Like if you get an early kill, then sure, you can snowball a little bit and punish the other team for picking something like Ornn. But if you're even, Ornn has chances to like do more damage than you in the early game because Ornn is a broken champion. Ornn's very good. So that's kind of interesting. So the fact that TSM got the first dragon is not good for CLG. The fact that they got the second one kind of blows my mind, honestly. So who gets the first Rift Herald? TSM gets the first Rift Herald. So CLG is just not playing this intelligently. Like, how do they give that up? They should be stronger for these first couple of fights. They're just not sending Stixxay up. So if it's a 4-on-4, Galio's getting zoned out. Galio had his ultimate. Not sure why Galio didn't go in at any point. Basically, Gnar should be building Rage. Gnar should be trying to build up Rage, get into the team fight, jump in as Mega Gnar, use his ultimate, and then get Galio ulted right on top. And worst case scenario is you're going to get a ton of flashes and stuff like that, and then you fight the next dragon. Alright. So we have another dragon coming up, and TSM is getting ready to kill it on spawn. All right, so a good proactive play by TSM. So this is actually a very important thing to talk about. So the observer or spectator, whatever you want to call the person doing this, is doing a good job by showing the lack of vision that CLG has around the dragon pit. If you're CLG, you need to know that TSM could be in this bush, this bush down here. So TSM makes a proactive play, jumps onto the Galio. Galio is not able to run away because of Cassiopeia's grounding. So this means that Galio is not able to use his ultimate, and Galio is not able to use his E. So it's a good counter pick against Galio for those reasons, and also because the chances of Galio winning that lane matchup without jungler intervention is like almost zero. So you really need the jungler to try to fight the Cassiopeia early. So Galio dies, and then TSM gets this for free. So this is a big problem. And this was created by Tempo and Vision. So good job by TSM. And you could also say bad job by CLG for not being prepared for something like that. It's tough to be too harsh on CLG there though. That's like the kind of thing where it's a momentary lapse of judgment and it costs your team a kill and an objective. So again, Cassiopeia versus Galio, very smart pick. Then we have a couple of kills. Let's just go further into the game. Still very close. So CLG was able to take the dragon there. I mean, this fight really doesn't matter. Still 1.3k gold. So at this point, TSM is going to outscale you. So you basically need to win the next team fight and take Baron, or you're going to lose the game. Alright, so this is the most important fight of the game. I'm assuming. And it starts off well. Ooh. Wow. A good aggressive flash by Smoothie. He has to go for it. The fact that Pobelter didn't ult in at any point during this seems like a mistake, if you ask me. So they're waiting for Gnar to go in, I think, which is the correct thing to do. So, okay, so now the Oranhorn's coming in. TSM has 3 players that are low. CLG should not be happy with getting the dragon. They need to force a fight right now. The dragon is not enough. And once Mega Gnar goes down, you're not going to be able to fight. So CLG has to back off now. So they really should have pressed their advantage a little harder right there. The Gnar needs to be able to go into that fight and create a way for Galio to come in there, and you have to win that fight. Because like I said, you're going to get outscaled if you don't take Baron. so this kind of happened for no reason. Galio should instantly be ulting onto their team right there. Like they just don't seem to know how to operate around the Gnar. But again, right now they should not be looking to push a tower. They should be looking to take Baron. You need to push your advantage as hard as you can and get that Baron. If you don't get Baron in this game, you're not going to win. And they have an okay Baron taking team. They have Graves, they have Gnar, they have Ashe. So actually they have a very good Baron taking team. You have 2 Blade of the Ruin Kings, and then you have Graves doing a lot of damage. They should have forced the issue there. So that's a missed opportunity. And CLG keeps making pretty good plays. So do they throw the Baron? They're taking a lot of damage. Gnar's in mini form. Eating poke from Ezreal. So they're just not executing this correctly. They need to jump off and fight. And they do have some tools to cause a fight. They just got backed off of this. That's pretty bad by CLG. I think it's just not understanding their win conditions. Because, like I said, they need to fight. There's no way that they can win this game without taking Baron. Obviously, you don't want to die at the Baron pit and then give them a couple of kills and the Baron. Okay, so this was a good reactive play by CLG. I love Gnar with Braum. I think it's a good combination. Good. This is exactly what Gnar needs to be doing right now. A great 3-man ultimate. Are they able to get anything else out of it, though? Alright, so Galio was not able to follow up on that. I wonder, does Galio not have Nimbus Cloak? That would be a mistake. Didn't look to be going very fast. But with Unsealed Spellbook, they have Smite. So this dragon fight could be the last fight of the game. You need to have Gnar with Mega, and Gnar has Mega already. So this means that they're not going to be able to fight this dragon. So you're basically giving up Infernal Soul for free. This is a mistake by CLG. The Ruin needs to know that he needs to manage his rage to get to the fight with Mega Gnar. Because if he has to teleport in as Mini, he's just going to get exploded right when he comes in. So TSM, if they're playing the right way, is going to force the dragon fight. And now Gnar's coming in as Mini with no rage built up. So there's really no way that they can contest this dragon. So they go for a steal, and Wiggly dies. This is not Wiggly's fault by any stretch of the imagination. This is Ruin's fault. And it's not easy as a Gnar to like manage your rage and like understand the timing. But once you get to a certain point before the dragon starts, you cannot allow yourself to go Mega. So they lose that, and they lose the game off of it. So overall, I think CLG played pretty well that game, honestly. I like the idea behind their team composition. I like the fact that they have a bunch of ways to proc Braum's passive. They just needed to play the early game more aggressively and play around the Gnar better. So you just can't be too upset with CLG. Maybe there were some better item decisions they could have made. I don't think that Black Cleaver was really the best option for Gnar. It does give you a little bit of health, which is good, and shredding armor is good, but I like playing on hit Gnar a lot better. But like I said, this game was lost because of him going Mega top lane and not having it when he comes into the team fight. What's next? Okay, so this game is a stomp, basically. And like this is why it was tough to kind of get really excited about 100 Thieves, because Contracts is a good player, but Closer's still probably better. So they're able to create a 1k gold lead. 100 Thieves is trying to be pretty aggressive. How did they lose that dragon? So they just consistently were winning this game. 1.5. Now we're at right about 2k. 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 Get a Rift Herald, so it's going to be even larger at that point. 3 dragons at 16 minutes. So now there's a clock on the game. 5 minutes from now, 100 Thieves needs to be able to fight, or they're going to give away Dragon Soul. Okay, they give up Dragon Soul, they lose. Game over. GG. Okay, so this was the first game. Eric is a new support, or a new AD carry for OMG. This game was lost around the Baron fight by Sunning, so they made a mistake there. So this is the fight that we need to take a look at. Alright, so we're 24 minutes into the game. OMG is down 4,000 gold. Dragon is on the map, so Sunning was walking back and forth between Baron and Dragon. There are a few different options for Sunning here, so let me pause it and slow it down. Alright. So right now, Sunning has pressure in the mid lane. Twisted Fate is shoving in mid lane, which is happening down here. So shoving in mid lane. Let me turn off my camera actually, because you'll kind of need to see the mini map for this one. Okay, so TF is shoving in mid lane. That's almost an arrow. Holy crap! Bad arrow. So what a horrible drawing. Oh my god. So Twisted Fate is shoving in mid lane, right? So that's creating pressure on the map. OMG is feeling pretty desperate, so they're making a play on Baron right now. So all 5 members are there. Sunning has more of a split push composition, so Twisted Fate and Camille can both try to split push in a side wave. So theoretically, Camille could be in the bot lane right now, shoving in this. And basically what Sunning is dealing with right now is they need to decide, are we going to go towards the Baron pit or towards the Dragon pit? If we go towards the Dragon pit, we give away Baron for free. Not really a good idea. I'm not sure if OMG could have used that Baron to take many towers, so maybe that would have been okay. But you're just giving away gold, and you should be stronger. You should be able to win a fight. So I don't have any problems with them backing off and trying to fight this. So what Sunning needs to do is continuously walk up and force them off of the Baron pit. Angel moves a little too early in my opinion and picks a very risky spot to come in, okay? So Twisted Fate goes into a spot where he's completely disconnected from the rest of the team. And I understand why you do this. You're trying to create like a pincer motion where you have your team coming in from this angle and this angle. But all OMG has to do is take all 5 players and run into the Twisted Fate. And Twisted Fate is going to have to use Stopwatch. So let's back up real quick. So Azir goes in and has a horrible ultimate. So that's a horrible Emperor's Divide by Icon. But now Twisted Fate is separated from the fight and is not able to help the rest of the team. Lee Sin goes in for a good kick, so SFM, good job getting a kick onto Azir. But what else are you going to be able to accomplish? The Taric ultimate comes in, gives invulnerability to 3 players. Azir has to use Stopwatch. And so far they go 1 for 1. So the mid laner is gone from one team, the jungler is gone from the other team. Bin goes back in trying to get onto the back line and uses his ultimate onto Hacker instead of Ezreal, which was probably a misclick. I don't know that for certain, but it's most likely a misclick. So Huan Feng could theoretically outplay this entire fight right now, but Huan Feng needs to hold on to Flash in order to escape like a Taric stun or something like that. Eric does a good job playing aggressively, goes in, kills the Twisted Fate. Sword Art and Huan Feng, they could have maybe gotten OMG off of the Baron at this point, but I think that what you need to look at is the scaling factor of OMG, and they were able to force that fight because they have Azir and Ezreal, and both of those champions have more damage in a team fight and more Baron damage in general. Those two combined have more Baron damage than Twisted Fate and Ashe. So I think it's a very smart play by them, even though they're down gold, to go for that, because you're trying to force Stunning to make a bad decision. So OMG did a very good job right there. They gave up that dragon for free, which I think was a mistake, but they're able to win the game off of that Baron, so let's just go to the next game. Looks like Sunning is snowballing this game, so that's 3.5. Ooh, an advertisement. Who doesn't love advertisements? Shadow Legends? I don't think so. I think we're going to stick to League of Legends. So now they're up 5k. So this game just wasn't very close. Wait, what? Did they lose this fight? Oh, so a good Bard ultimate. Okay. Good Bard ultimate. They get a shutdown. They're able to collapse on Sunning. And Sunning just shouldn't be in this spot. There's no reason to be in the bot lane. So they lose 4 players. And do they give up Baron off of this as well? They do not. Still a healthy gold lead. Sunning's able to take the Baron. And as long as they get out of here without getting aced. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, they almost lost this game. So again, OMG made another good macro play, which was only made possible because Sunning made a very risky macro play. Sunning still has a lead. They're still playing aggressively, pushing in the lanes. They have Baron buff. They're basically waiting for the next dragon to get Dragon Soul. They're a team that can utilize Dragon Soul very well. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Bin gets the dragon somehow. So that was pretty lucky. Man, this game is so close. 1.6k, now they have the Dragon Soul. If it was any other Dragon Soul, I would be more confident that they automatically win the game. But in this spot, they could have counterplay from OMG because Camille is very strong one-on-one. Another good Bard ultimate. That's why you gotta... I love Bard. Bard's a very good champion. Lee Sin goes in trying to finish off the Baron. Wow, they keep Baron. Very lucky. Well, not lucky, but because they did play it well, but they ran the risk of losing the game right there. And they were probably feeling somewhat scared because they've made several macro plays that didn't work out for them. Huanfeng was recalling right there. They should have just fought. They should have all fought because then they wouldn't have lost any players. They are getting pressure from their base, so that's why Ash was thinking about recalling. But OMG was aced. Sword Art always has the best reactions after games. He's always like very expressive, which is pretty funny. And then this game I did not watch. OMG has a lead. And they have Dragon... Oh my god, they have Dragon Soul. So it's 5-5. Let's see. I did hear that someone made a bad play in this game, so let's just see how bad it really was. Okay, so right now there's Elder Dragon coming up soon, and for some reason Eric is getting caught out in the mid lane. I kind of think it was partially Lee Sin's fault for kind of baiting his own teammate. Because that's why Lee Sin is in there. So Lee Sin went in and tried to get a kick onto Ezreal. And Ezreal's not a great option. So they were trying to basically blow up Ezreal. Or that's Orianna? No, that's Ezreal. They were trying to blow up the Ezreal before the team could respond. That was a weird interaction. Because Kai'Sa's ultimate was going in, and then she was... she was ulted by Set. So that's kind of weird. Sunning's able to get the Elder Dragon, which means they're also going to be able to take Baron, which means they're going to be able to basically just shove in and try to win the game right now. And that's why these objectives are in the game. It makes it much easier to get have comebacks happen. So Huanfeng dies, but Angel is still alive. They still have a decent amount of damage. Jax is very strong at this point. Probably the strongest champion in this specific game. Not like in League of Legends, but in this specific game. And with Elder Dragon, they're able to win the match. And then Vici Gaming took care of business pretty easily against Dominus, so we're not going to go over that. But that's basically it. So thanks for watching. That's all I've got for you today. We will be going over tomorrow's matches. Tomorrow I'll release another Esportscenter video. In a couple of days we get 3 LPL matches every slate, which is going to be a lot better. I hate 2-game slates. I'm not playing 2-game slates right now. Just not worth it. There's always an edge to be found, but 2-game slates, it's more luck than anything, in my opinion. Especially when you're going after qualifier seats and stuff like I am. I'm not sure how many seats are left, but I need to go check that out right now. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.